The presenting sponsor of Upmarket is Aereo, the best place to grow and manage your real estate media business online at aereo.com. That's ARYEO.com. Coming to you from the makeshift Upmarket studio in the beautiful Ojai Valley of Southern California, this is Upmarket, a podcast about the business of real estate photography and media. My name is Reed Fish. I'm the CEO and a co-founder of Upmarket Media. And we got some big announcements on this episode, and I'm a little sorry that Mark isn't here for them. And Chelsea is on vacation right now. Unbelievable. We're getting into busy season, and Chelsea takes a vacation. Oh my goodness. But you know what? I'm going to soldier through. And I'm going to let you in on what I'm excited about. And you're going to not believe that I'm going to be excited about it now, because we are sitting here in April of 2024. But I am excited for PMRE. Oh, yeah, baby. PMRE is coming back again, bigger and better than ever. It's November 13th through 15th, 2024 at the Palms Casino and Resort in fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. This year, the conference is bigger and better than ever, adding an optional third day for commercial and corporate work. I cannot wait for this. Tickets are not on sale yet, though. We're starting these episodes, the Road to PMRE episodes, but tickets are not on sale yet. You will be first to know from the podcast of when these early bird tickets will be going on sale. And if you want to check out, if you want to get on the wait list, you can. You go to pmreconference.com and check out everything. You can watch the cool reveal video for the new venue at the Palms and get all your information. And so here's the deal. We're changing up this podcast a little. We've kind of been teasing that we have a big announcement. And basically what the big announcement is that there's going to be more Upmarket podcast. In fact, starting today through the end of PMRE, we are going weekly. That's right. We will have weekly episodes. We are going to have a whole suite of Road to PMRE episodes. And that's only possible because of one thing. That's possible because we are partnering with our friends at iGUIDE to bring you this year's Road to PMRE episodes. And to join us for just a moment, we're going to have a regular guest. We're going to actually have the host of this year's PMRE is going to be our first guest, but we're going to have a few minutes first. And I'm so happy to welcome from iGUIDE, Skylar Lawrence LaBelle. Skylar, how's it going?
Reed, I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course. Our pleasure. I'm so excited to partner with you guys here. But first, tell us, what is iGUIDE exactly? Just real quick, because we have some other really cool stuff we want to talk about here.
Yeah, thrilled to be here. For those that aren't aware, iGUIDE, we're a leader in delivering 3D virtual tours and precise floor plans.
Oh, I love it. I love a precise floor plan and a 3D virtual tour. These are all things that are right in my wheelhouse. Yeah. And you guys have been coming out to PMRE for a while now, right? I'm sure a lot of people probably know you who are listeners to this podcast.
We have. The team has been out there many times. I made my maiden voyage last year, so it was my first time at PMRE. Great experience. Got to meet yourself, got to meet Mark, and tons of others across the country. So loved it. Excited to come back next year. But yeah, the team from iGUIDE has been going out for many years at this point. Michael and Chris are the main faces that many are probably familiar with, and excited to be back.
And so Skylar, but come on, let's just get to it, because I've been thinking about this. I've known about this now for a couple months, and I haven't been able to really tell anybody. And so I'm really excited for this partnership. And here's the reason why. And I'm going to let you spill the big news for all our listeners.
So we are announcing the iGUIDE Tour to PMRE 2024, and we're going to be taking 2 lucky winners with us, all access paid trip to PMRE in November.
Holy shit. That's incredible. Just hearing you say that now on the podcast and making it official, that is absolutely incredible. Okay. So 2 listeners to Upmarket podcast. That's what you're talking about. This is an Upmarket podcast iGUIDE giveaway are going to be going to PMRE on iGUIDE. This is an all expenses paid trip from anywhere in North America, right?
Continental, US, Canada.
Oh, but Skylar, that's not all. I know too much, and I got to tease it. You're not just giving away 2 trips to PMRE. There's an early bird drawing as well, right?
So we do have an early bird draw this June, so don't delay registering and signing up. We are giving away a iGUIDE Planix Pro camera system, so our flagship camera, to one lucky winner this June.
Wow. Okay. So lay it on me. How do our listeners enter? And I'm almost sad that I'm a part of the podcast and I can't actually win any of the sweepstakes. But how can people enter into these sweepstakes?
So we've made it as easy as possible. There's really 3 steps. 1, follow iGUIDE, go iGUIDE on Instagram. Follow Upmarket Pod on Instagram. And then visit goiGUIDE.com/PMRE. There'll be a contest form there. Few fields, hit submit.
Right. So I believe you're going to go to goiGUIDE.com/PMRE, and then you're going to have to enter your email address, which will put you, just for full disclosure, put you on the mailing list for iGUIDE and Upmarket Pod. And then you are going to be entered into that. And just for entering, though, people do get a bonus element as well, right? So what happens when you enter? What are you going to get?
You're right. So we are sending out a iGUIDE branded piece of swag that we're going to encourage you to bring to PMRE. There will be a little contest. We're not announcing it now, but I'll give you a little sneak peek. We're going to encourage you to do something with this item. We're shipping out. It'll go out probably August timing. Bring it with you in November, and there will be additional prizes to be won at PMRE this year.
Wow. And then you're going to get also a discount code for PMRE, I believe.
You've got it. So everyone that registers and signs up is getting a $50 discount code emailed to them, and they're able to use that when they purchase their ticket.
All right. And so let's also clarify. So we have these all expenses paid trips to PMRE, which includes a ticket to PMRE. But what if someone, because we're not, and so with that drawing, we're not going to announce the winner until later in the summer. We don't have the date yet. But what if someone has already bought a ticket, already bought an early bird ticket or something, and they win? What do they do now?
Yeah, no, great question, Reed. So anyone that's bought a ticket in advance or actually booked any other travel in advance will be reimbursed. So we have a dollar amount. You're going to be reimbursed. So we don't want to delay ticket sales with PMRE. Anyone that's gone ahead, purchased, secured their ticket and are already started to book travel, if you're the lucky winner when the draw happens, you'll actually be reimbursed with cash equivalents. So.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. So if you do get that, if you do find that sweet airfare, you're going to want to jump on that regardless. So, yeah. So yeah, that's great. Because definitely we want to, there's going to be excitement when early birds go on sale. That's always a big day in our industry. Everyone rushing to get those cheaper tickets. But we're all going to be set up for success because all our listeners are going to have the $50 discount codes and they're going to be ready to rock. So, Skylar, this is just huge news, and obviously we're going to be talking about it for a while. So let me also clarify for our listeners that what we're going to do now. So we are going to be a weekly podcast, at least through the end of PMRE, and we're going to have our regular Upmarket episodes, and then we're going to alternate that with our Road to PMRE episodes, where we're going to be interviewing a lot of the speakers and other people associated with PMRE. So I think there's going to be a lot of value for our listeners. I've kind of had a preview of the speaker slate, and it's going to be incredible. There's going to be a ton of people that we're going to have some really fascinating, informative conversations with here on this podcast. And Skylar, I thank you so much for the partnership with iGUIDE. We're so excited to begin this road. Oh, well, one little thing though, Skylar, we're doing the road to PMRE here. And then now all of a sudden iGUIDE is doing the tour to PMRE. These are kind of the same thing, but now we're using different words. We got to have brand synergy here. What's going on?
Yeah, I apologize for the confusion, Reed. We are playing off a 3D tour. So introducing the iGUIDE tour
all the way to PMRE. You're gonna make a 3D tour all the way to Las Vegas. I love it. If it were realtors, they would probably get confused, but real estate photographers are much smarter. So they're going to be just fine. Skylar, thank you. We're going to have you back on to announce the early bird winner when that happens in June for the Planix Pro system. And until then, thanks and happy listening to these PMRE episodes.
Thanks for having us, Reed. Thrilled to kick this off. Very excited.
You got it. And we are going to be right back with a mystery guest who is also the host of PMRE 2024. So there's a lot of perks that are involved in being the official podcast of PMRE. And one of those perks is we get to break a little bit of news. So breaking news, we are ready to announce the host of PMRE 2024 at the Palms, and it is none other than
me, Kelsey Curtis.
Oh my God, Kelsey! Oh, if you're watching that on our YouTube channel,
I had to do a little chair turn reveal.
Yeah. And if you're watching on our YouTube channel, she totally had a Dr. Evil moment, kind of spun around in that chair, and we're ready to rock. So Kelsey, my big question for you is that, are you going to be able to bring enough energy to the hosting job?
You know what? When Brandon asked me to be the host this year, I said, hey, if you want a snooze fest, I'm your gal. I'm just kidding. No, I definitely, I really have thought about adding energy producer to my business card because I can't help it. I just get in a room with amazing people, which honestly, like PMRE has the best people, and I cannot wait to connect with them all over again. And it was funny when I was leaving PMRE last year after speaking and doing the workshop and everything, I was like, I need to come back next year. I know I'm a branding photographer. I'm not a real estate photographer, but this room of people is like nothing else. And so I had this little wish in my heart of like, how am I going to get back to PMRE? Why is there a reason? And then Brandon reached out, do you want to host? And I was like, yes, of course. I want to hang out with my friends again at PMRE. True story. Well, and so just a hair of background on you for anyone who wasn't there last year and didn't listen to our podcast series last year leading up to it, is that you are a branding photographer and kind of a branding educator, so to speak, for branding photographers, right? Yeah. So I am a branding photographer. I work with business owners and I work with a lot of realtors to create branding images. And I also I also teach branding photographers how to do branding photo shoots. And it was really a perfect combination because especially last year, there was just this call from realtors asking their real estate photographers, hey, just take a picture of me. But as real estate photographers, you're like, I take pictures of rooms because they don't talk back. And so Brandon called me in to teach real estate photographers how to photograph people and look at a bigger experience and creating a bigger connection with them to build that loyalty, which will then in turn build your real estate media business.
Right. Well, and that's, and actually I have a lot of questions about that for you. And I want to talk about PMRE first and some other stuff. And then on the second half of the show, after our social media sidebar, I really want to get into the relationship between real estate media companies and branding photography, and how we can kind of build that into our businesses. But I do want to make sure that we got to pump up PMRE. We got to bring that energy. What's your plan? How is it going to work when Kelsey, do you have a philosophy on hosting conferences?
I have a very serious philosophy. It starts with 10 hours of meditation before
perfect.
on the Bible of Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. No. Actually, quite opposite. My whole philosophy is my job is not to be a stand-up comedian. And if you want a stand-up comedian, there's so many great ones you can go see on the Strip. My whole goal and philosophy behind hosting is about edifying the speakers and letting the audience know who they're about to hear, but also just like have a great time. Like, let's not take it too seriously. Like all the things you're going to be learning is going to be like mind blowing. It's going to change your business. It's going to change your life. It's going to change your mentality. All of the speakers, what they're going to bring to the stage. And so my job is to provide that little mini brain break in between each speaker and let you know what's coming up, engage with the audience, and just make a giant event feel like we're having personal connection, personal conversations, but in a big scale. So that's my whole goal is connection, edify the speakers, and just bring the fun energy and provide a little brain break between each of the amazing speakers coming on board.
Right. Okay. Well, you're not going to be doing stand up, but you will have maybe one or two jokes, right? If you need one, you let me know. I can
do one or two jokes. That's for sure. A lot of time, I have a feeling that we might do some crowd work and really get the audience involved too. So if you don't want to have the microphone in your face, don't look at me.
Right. I think that, well, you accosted me last year at the pre-registration party and stuck one of my own microphones in my face, if I remember correctly.
That's what I do.
Yeah. And I think that, and I have not been in that room at the Palms, but I think it's a bit different, or it's still like a showroom, like it is, it was at South Point, but I don't know if the stage is as elevated as it was at South Point. I actually just don't know. So
yeah, I have my suspicions from the pictures that I've seen in the video. And if you haven't checked out the PMRE preview video for 2024, that is something to behold. The media team put it together. But yeah, so I think it's going to be a different vibe that I feel like we really can connect more and feel more together learning versus someone on stage talking at you. It's kind of more of a talking with you. And so I'm going to really piggyback onto that mentality for the hosting of let's talk together with as the next speaker is going to come out and all of that. So it's going to be very involved and inclusive, I would say, with the audience.
Cool. Yeah. It's going to be so interesting to see what the vibe is going to be this year because of the change in venues. I mean, it could go any direction, and I just don't, and I know, Brandon is making, everything that Brandon does with PMRE is so incredibly thoughtful and he really puts a lot of care into thinking about every single aspect of it. And sometimes, and he's very quick to say, oh, you know what? That was a thoughtful thing, but it didn't actually work. And so we're going to change it and we're going to do this. So I think he's constantly listening to feedback from the attendees and is making changes accordingly. So I think it's going to have a lot, even just with the change of venue, it's still going to have a lot of, different stuff going on this year. And I'm kind of privy to some of those, and I'm sure we're going to talk about those as these episodes roll out over the course of the next few months. But
one thing I want to say about Brandon is that Brandon has such a great nose for talent, and he has the courage to push the boundaries and the status quo. So if you just think PMRE is a conference talking about, okay, how do you photograph a room? How do you use a drone? There's going to be some great technical applicable conversations, but he's also looking outside of the box and pushing you and pushing your mentality and making you think about things differently so that you can be a better professional as well. So I know some of the people who are in talks for coming, and I'm like, Brandon, you're doing it again. You're sniffing out incredible talent and bringing so much diverse value to this conference. Right.
Well, and to clarify too, now, we are moving to a 3-day conference this year.
Yes.
But I think and that third day is really about architecture and commercial photography. And so my understanding is actually you're hosting the first 2 days, the kind of traditional PMRE.
Correct.
And then the third day is going to be a different host that I actually know who it is, but I'm not going to say it right now.
It can't be revealed yet. Yeah. So I'm hosting day 1, day 2, the core PMRE conference. And then the nitty gritty for architecture is going to be someone else, and it's going to be such a great value add-on if you are already in the architectural space or you want to explore that option. Like, I think it's going to be a no-brainer for people to add that third day on, honestly.
For sure. Although you will be missed. You will be missed.
There's more.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Well, and so you did have, it did sound like you had a really wonderful experience last year, kind of being welcomed into the community at PMRE. And I do know, I remember I was there. You did kind of launch a new program for your, from you there. And I'm kind of wondering, can you tell us about that and tell us how it's been going? And because I'm assuming a bunch of people who attended PMRE kind of became part of that program.
Yeah. So PMRE was the launch of my community for female brand photographers called Elevate. And basically it's all about teaching female brand photographers how to elevate their business by integrating branding photography, but doing it the Kelsey Curtis way, which is very different, and nobody else really does it this way with, really involved pre-production and learning about how to protect your client's body image and learning about even stuff like called photography trauma, because that's where a lot of people miss the mark photographing people, is not realizing the mental space that your clients are at. And then also going into editing and posing. And next month, our members are getting the most in-depth posing videos and guide I've ever created, launching next month in April. And it's amazing. And then also creating a safe community for female photographers to learn from each other and share mistakes and grow from them together. Because as we know, being a photographer, even if you have a team, is a very lonely industry. And so
for sure.
Elevate has been such a great community. We are now, I can say, officially in 9 countries. We launched in November last year. We are officially in 9 countries and have an incredible powerhouse of women photographers. So, PMRE was a huge launch pad for that. And we have a lot of real estate photographers in our group. So if you want to check that out, you can always, head to my website, kelseycurtis.com, Curtis with a K.
double K, KK.
Double K, KK. I'm the only Kelsey Curtis with a Curtis K on planet Earth, I believe. So,
congratulations.
I did choose my last name. So it was kind of intentional. And that's another story.
Well, I know now.
Oh, wait, do you want to know the story? I was married and I was Kelsey Barnwell. And then when I got divorced, I could go back to my maiden name, which was Miller, or I could choose my own last name. And Miller was just kind of boring. I never connected with it. And so I was like, well, why don't I just change my last name to something that connects with me? And all my life I've been called KK, even though my last name wasn't a K. So I'm like, let me choose a K last name. And I found Curtis, and the Germanic meaning means someone who succeeds in business, leadership, writing. I wrote a book, and speaking and leading others to their ultimate potential. So I was like, well, Curtis, sold, done.
So, in other words, you built a lot of people build a brand off their name. You built your name off your brand.
Oh, wait, did you hear that giant mic drop, my friend? I've never heard that before, but you are actually so true. Like, yes. Wow. Well,
there you go. I can't top that. So why don't let's take a break to digest that. And so we're going to do our social media sidebar in just a moment. We'll do a couple ads, and then we're going to come back with a bunch of talk about how to incorporate branding into your own business. So that's a service that you can offer your clients. And then we're going to end it, Kelsey. I know it. Some major awesome action items.
Always.
Oh, Aereo. What's not to love about Aereo? Here's the thing we've been loving recently. It just, it is the scheduling of the posts, of the delivery. I mean, it's so wonderful. Just this last weekend, I had to do a early Saturday morning delivery. But you know what? Our editors got the photos done really quickly. And so they were ready the night before. So I just went in there, scheduled that dang thing to go out the next morning, and boom, it went out, and I was sleeping. Actually, I wasn't, because I have a child who wakes up early. So I was awake because there's no sleeping in. I can't sleep until 9. Doesn't happen. But you know what? That's besides the point. The point being that with Aereo, you can schedule the delivery of your photos to your clients and a million other things that are going to help you grow your business. If you want to get in and check out Aereo, you can go to Aereo.com and use the code Upmarket. If you're a new user, you're going to get 15 free bonus listings. My goodness, what a wonderful deal. Go check out Aereo right now. You know what I could go for right now? A big plate of spaghetti and meatballs, because I am hungry, because I have been thinking about floor plans all day long. Just floor plans on my brain. And it makes me hungry. It makes me hungry for spaghetti and meatballs and the Second Floor app, because Second Floor app is one of the best ways that you can make floor plans almost instantaneously for your clients. You're going to walk through there with your little phone and you're going to scan that place with the Second Floor app, and it's going to spit out a GLA floor plan for you instantaneously. It's amazing. You're going to be able to deliver that floor plan to your client right there on site if that is something you so choose to do. secondfloorapp.com/upmarket, and you're going to get a free month. A free month. Oh my goodness. Look at that. You're going to get a free month, and think of how many floor plans you can do. That's secondfloorapp.com/upmarket. And that's all spelled out. Second Floor app. There's no number in there. It's just a word. secondfloorapp.com/upmarket. Social media sidebar time. So come on, Upmarket Pod across all social media except for, just Instagram. And you will have noticed, if you are following Upmarket Pod, been a little more active lately. So I will really and I should be teasing this. I should be doing some BTS right now. And as we're going down the road with these PMRE episodes, we're going to be even doing more social media with Upmarket Pod. So look out for a lot of fun stuff coming up. And then Kelsey, I follow you on social media, and there's a lot of content there. So throw it down. Where can we find you?
Yes. Oh, yeah. There's a ton of content. So you can find me at Kelsey M. Curtis. M as in Mary, K as in Curtis. And then Kelsey Curtis photo that you can see my portfolio. And yeah, I really hang out on my Instagram, and that's where I get Instagram stories. I get 80% of my business. That's where I get found. That's where I connect. Instagram for me is the place to be. So thanks for the follow. And so, Reed, appreciate it.
So you're welcome. It's been a year since I followed, because we did this episode about a year ago with you. That's and right. Then I followed you since then. And so
this is our Instagram anniversary.
Yeah, I know. God, it's really nice.
Where's the champagne?
It's really special. Yeah.
Actually, you know what I am celebrating with? I'm going to tell you, Reed, I was a little sad to hear you're not wearing your red shoes, because I did wear something special for you.
Oh my goodness.
I'm wearing my purple Disney 100 Crocs.
Oh, there you go.
Clean socks, because I'm like, Reed brings his A game with shoes. I gotta bring my A game with my Disney Crocs. And what do you got on today?
I got. Oh, look at that, everyone.
You got some green giant sneaks.
Green with a little bit of
red shoes are nowhere to be found.
Well, I got a couple pairs out in the other room, but today here's the deal. So I really enjoy my red shoes, and it's a bit of a signature for me. And I have another pair, but I drop my daughter off to school every day, and she goes to this private school that's out in the thing, and she's still in third grade, but I still walk her into class every day, and all the paths are like dirt and DG and stuff, and it's like I don't want to mess up my shoes. So I took my daughter to school, so I got to wear my other less colorful shoes.
You got to wear your green shoes so it blends in with the dirt path. Now, here's the question: will the red shoes and/or potential red boots make an appearance at PMRE?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, I don't want to give away the game, but yeah, of course. Completely. Of course, yeah, I got my brand, and so to bring it back to social media, because I should have a social media devoted to my shoes. What do you find working for you on Instagram now? Because I've heard a lot of stuff. Stories are still great, but not as great as they were. Carousel posts are where it's at. I mean, I don't know. What are you finding as kind of a power Instagram user?
Here's the thing: is that the thing that you need to pay attention to is that Instagram is different for everybody. Our audiences are different, and so look at your analytics and see what is performing well with your audience, and that's what you need to do. And so for me, Instagram stories, it's part of my brand, and it also is part of my branding package that my client gets to be featured in my branding or in my Instagram stories. So stories are, like I said earlier, are where I get 80% of my business, because I'm getting new people seeing what I do behind the scenes, which shrinks the fear of the unknown. And then my return clients are seeing that I'm doing photo shoots with a lot of people, and they have FOMO. So they're like, hey, I didn't do a shoot this year. Let's get on the books. Right. And so that's really huge. Another thing is that I'm all about education too. And so creating posts about education, because I am marketing to photographers, because I want to provide that value. That's been really big. But honestly, like, asking yourself the question before you post anything, how will this serve my community? Because a lot of people just put stuff out on social and it's just like, I just want to look awesome. Here's my stuff. And that's important to share your portfolio. But if it's all of your portfolio and nothing is there to connect with someone or give value to someone else as a client or as a peer, then you're really just creating a surface level brand and a surface level social media. So ask yourself, how am I serving my community? Is it through education? Is it through business? Is it through something emotional, funny, showing my personality to connect? And so I found that really being intentional with providing a variety of content topics have been really, really helpful. And shorter the better. Like 8 seconds has been a sweet spot for sure. And those POV social media is like 8 seconds of some B-roll of you behind the scenes photographing a space, and then put POV, your interior photographer in Dallas, Fort Worth area or whatever, you know, those have been really, really good. Yeah. And then honestly, talking to camera. And I know that that's a big, scary monster that people have to really work through because they're perfectionists or overthinking. Talking to camera is so great, and creating your own audio like that. And carousels have never gone anywhere. Carousels are always gold for sure.
I'm just reassessing. Well, I'm just reassessing my entire existence. I'm
sorry, my friend.
No, it's okay. I struggle with social media, and I've been doing the podcast social media, and every time I post, it's usually just like making fun of myself, or just like, oh, I'm out there shooting real estate, and because my whole thing is like, I don't shoot real estate anymore, and I don't want to, and so every time I have to go out and do it, I'm like, and it's like, oh, it's kind of funny, but what value is that bringing to the community? Although I think they can commiserate, and then people have a chuckle at my misfortune.
Totally,
which
and
I
that
think
would
is
fall into the
value.
emotional category. Like you're creating, like you're sharing your sense of humor, which is dry and sarcastic. You're creating a funny moment for people who know you. Like, wait, what is Reed doing out on set, or not on set, but like on property? Yeah. So that would be emotional. Now, if all of your content is that, then you're missing the call to action business post of like, hey, we're taking new clients, new homes, we're expanding to this area or whatever, or you're missing the educational thing.
Well,
like,
yeah,
hey, this too, or whatever.
Yeah, and I was really referring to our podcast one because I don't touch our flagship Upmarket Media one. That's Mark and Chelsea do that one, and so they do, and we're trying to work. It's the journey. We're trying to work on that, and we've kind of anyway. All right. Well, then I'm gonna digest all this, and I'm gonna really transform the Upmarket Pod social even more. And Kelsey, maybe we can do like a collab reel for this.
You want to do a collab? A collaboration?
A collab reel, and then it's going to drive a lot of audience to the old Upmarket Pod. And there we go. So I think that was wonderful social media talk. Thank you so much, Kelsey Curtis. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about, a lot of other stuff and throw out some action items.
Stay tuned.
Oh yeah, stay tuned. Thank you. See, you're already hosting. You're like you're thrown to the brink. I like it.
I was made for this.
Here we go. iGUIDE. Hey, Skylar, I got to admit, I'm an honest person. Mostly honest. I mean, let's be real. I can throw a white lie in there every so often. I deal with realtors all the time. But I will say I have not used iGUIDE. So myself, and I'm excited to learn more about it. Can you give me just a little bit more on what iGUIDE is?
Really, at the core, we're here, being in the industry 10 plus years, helping real estate photographers, just like yourselves, grow their businesses. And how are we doing that? What does that actually mean? So we've got a quick capture camera system that you can go in, capture a property in minutes, and it's going to deliver as an output. So you're getting precise floor plans. We know both agents and buyers love them. The 3D virtual tour, and then rich metadata that goes along with it.
Okay, so we get to see the metadata. I love metadata.
You do. Yeah, you get a variety of things. So room dimensions are included. We've got a tag system, so you can go in and tag the properties you're going through it. measurement reports, a variety of details that you're going to get with every iGUIDE via the iGUIDE report.
Right. So here's my one question before we end this little ad here. What is, how long does it take? If I'm going to go do like a standard 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, about how long does it take to do an iGUIDE tour?
So 15 minutes on site capture, typically for about 3,000
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Whoa, I love it.
Ooh. Let me tell you the better part. So you go on site, 15 minutes capture, iGUIDE Instant, one of our latest offerings. You're actually getting your 3D tour with interactive floor plan delivered back within minutes. We have some photographers actually getting it sent back to them. So they upload from site, get it back to them. They're in their car leaving and it's already delivered.
All right. I don't like to set that precedent with our realtors. I like to make them sweat a little, but the fact that you can do that. All right. Skylar, thank you. And so that's goiguide.com. And if you want to enter the sweepstakes, it's goiguide.com/PMRE. You can leave your email address and follow Go iGUIDE and Upmarket Pod on Instagram is where it's at. Skylar, thanks.
Thanks, Reed.
All right, and we are back with Kelsey Curtis, branding photographer and educator extraordinaire. And so, Kelsey, I do want some education.
And host for 2024 PMRE.
Yeah, see? Yeah.
Why I'm even here.
Yeah.
I'm taking your job, Reed. Here I go.
That's fine. You're someone that I would have on the podcast again anyway, because I think the topic that I want to talk about with you now is super important, and it's something we've been thinking a lot about over the last year or so. Is incorporating branding content into the menu of services that we offer as a real estate media company, and we want to do that for a couple reasons. Is one, it can generate a lot more revenue, right? I mean, you can charge a lot for these branding shoots, and so it's good for your bottom line, and it maximizes your relationship with that client. It makes you even more essential to them. And then the other thing is it actually creates a little bit of diversity of revenue, where one of the things that I think a lot of real estate media people struggle with is like, we are so dependent on the whims of the real estate industry that when there's not houses on the market, we are not getting paid. So it creates an additional revenue stream that is tied to real estate, but is a bit outside of it, and that is also applicable to many other industries. So I think it's a smart business move to incorporate that. So what do we need to, we're just used to taking pictures of houses, right? So what do we need? How do we make that transition? Because it's something Mark and I think about all the time, because neither of us want to do it, but we've realized we have to do it. So what's your advice to us?
Yeah, this was a huge topic of conversation at the PMRE workshop that I did last year for branding photography. And, I personally love the idea of a real estate photographer learning a new skill that can deepen their relationship with their clients. And branding is the best way to do that, because there's this next level of loyalty and relationship that you create with your clients being photographed that just takes that relationship to the next level. However, there are some people who are like, I know this is important, but I don't have the skill, or I don't have the time or the passion for this. What am I supposed to do? And I say, then bring someone on your team who provides that, or contract out with a local branding photographer that you are then exchanging business. Because I'm putting myself in a real estate photographer's shoes. For me, no offense to real estate photographers, but I find photographing rooms or even landscapes, buildings, so boring. I love the challenge of photographing people. Like, that is what gets me going every day, right? And so if someone told me, well, Kelsey, in order to succeed as a branding photographer, you got to start photographing rooms. And I get that dread. So I understand where real estate photographers are coming from and getting that feeling of dread of like, I don't want to do that. And you know what? You don't have to. If that doesn't align with your brand, your brand or what you want to offer, you don't have to. But if you know it would add value and you're interested in either you yourself learning a new skill or reaching out to your community of amazing photographers in your zip code and making a partnership, then that's a win-win everywhere, because not only are you adding branding to your business, but then you're supporting a photographer who does have that skill and passion. So, and if it's a female photographer, have her join Elevate, because then she'll learn how to elevate that experience and your brand offering as well. So brand photo shoot offering as well. So I say, find out what works for you. And if your passion is to learn something new, then learn how to be a branding photographer. If it's not, then find someone who can and integrate them onto your team.
Yeah.
Like it's not a one-way street, one way to do something.
Yeah. And I think that's ultimately what we're going to have to do, because I think, and two, and, you know, one of our team members, Nikki, who's been on the podcast, people may remember her, is, I think, could do that and has those skills and maybe has some interest in that, but she's actually too valuable to us as a real estate shooter. It's like, we don't want to pull her off of those shoots, because that's the whole idea of her out there doing that, is so I don't have to do it. Mark doesn't have to do it, and we can focus on other stuff. And so I really think we're going to have to bring in someone, you know, an outside person, and hopefully just as like, and kind of, form a partnership with another person who already has a business, or, you know, have someone who have someone who's could be an employee, but just focuses on that.
If you are a real estate photographer, media business, and you are doing so many houses, but you want to integrate this, you're basically like a marketing company. So I do work with the marketing companies who have a client and they need a branding photographer for photo shoot, and they hire me and to do that, you know? And so that would be basically the same thing. You're creating this partnership with this other photographer. So my whole thought is, learn how to photograph people. That's my first option, because you are going to be able to build that relationship with that client. But if you're too busy, you don't have the passion for it, then find local talent, and that's going to support a local business. So it's a win-win. Or if you're just like, no, then don't do it. We don't want crappy photographers doing branding photo shoots just because you're begrudgingly doing it. Please don't, because I'm not setting the precedent for us branding photographers that that's the experience that people should expect. And we don't want to lower the industry expectation for begrudgingly doing branding photo shoots.
Well, okay. So if I'm going to build out that infrastructure, though, I want to make sure that I'm doing shoots, and we occasionally have people asking us about it, but ultimately, how do we sell it? You know, what's the strategy for that you have, like, for sales, other than, you know, being driven off your social media? I mean, what are the things that you're what are your marketing points that you talk to about people, to kind of convince them or to show them the need that they have, right? Because we're not trying to convince someone to do something they don't actually need, but, you know.
Totally. We don't want that client, to be honest, because they're going to be a nightmare if you're forcing them to do something. And I've turned a lot of clients away after reading through the lines, and they're like, I'm just doing it because, you know, Jane Smith down the road's doing it. I'm like, no, this is going to be a miserable experience for us all. We're not going to do that. So I guess the question is, if you asked me that when I first started branding photography in 2016, I've been shooting for 14 years, but I switched to branding photography, which was not a thing. Like branding photography was not a thing. Sure, like some studio personal branding headshots were a thing, but lifestyle branding photography, what I do, like on location, interacting with client models and working with props and telling a bigger story, like that was not a thing. So if you asked me that in 2016, I would be like, well, I just got a couple realtors who I knew and I trusted, and I asked, hey, can you be my guinea pig? And then they started using it, and then their whole industry were like, oh my gosh, Jane and John are doing so great. I want that. Right. But now in 2024, branding photography is so much bigger, and people know the value of it. And social media is so much bigger, a bigger piece of realtors' marketing strategy. And so one thing that I bring up, and I bring this up with realtors, I bring this up with real estate photographers, is the 2 swipe test. And I'm like, hey, go to your Instagram and do 2 swipes. If I don't see your face or learn anything about you in those 2 swipes, then we need to have a conversation about either you showing up with your iPhone and showing up, or we need to have a branding photo shoot. If your Instagram looks exactly like the next realtor's with, stock imagery from your brokerage, or basic Canva stuff, or coffee and contracts without custom photos, or you as a real estate photographer, same thing. It's just your portfolio with nothing about the people behind the camera, then you're missing out on a deep way to connect, build loyalty, and build your business to the next level. Because especially after COVID, people connect with people. You can't hide behind your work. You can't hide behind your logo anymore. And so this is exactly what I tell people who are like, I think that we need to start integrating branding photo shoots. Like, is it really that big of a deal? Like, I think it's good, but is it that big of a deal? So I tell them, like, think about how you connect with your brands. Think about what happened after COVID and how us as humans are really seeking one thing as connection to each other, connections to our brand, connection with people we're giving money to. And if you as a realtor are helping people with their biggest purchase in their life, don't they want to have a personal connection with you who's writing this up? So I just paint a bigger story. And that's what connection-based branding, what I teach in my book, The Connection Method, is all about. And teaching about connecting with your client, telling the bigger story, not just, because it's a great ROI. No, because photos aren't the ROI. Photos plus action and connection is that ROI. Yeah, I think that if you want to start integrating branding photography into your business, like, this is such a great time to do it, because people already know the value. They're already seeing their competitors in the market using it. But the first thing I do is do a 2-swipe test. And if they have no photos, then you can be like, you failed a 2-swipe test. And then it instantly puts them in a tizzy. So.
Well, yeah. And we've tried that 2-swipe test on ourselves. And I think cause you talked about that at PMRE last year. And so I think we did, let me look at Upmarket Media here, and I'll be mad.
They're currently checking the 2-swipe test. Reed, do you fail? Do you pass?
Do I? It's
You're
not
in the hot
me.
seat.
Oh, well, you see, cause we have a pinned post with Mark and I.
That works.
There we go. All right. Yeah.
Because that's when people come to an Instagram, TikTok, website. They want to know, can you solve my problem, and can I trust you?
Right.
Can you solve my problem, and can I trust you? And so, yes, show me your portfolio. Okay, you can solve my problem. You take kick-ass photos. But can I trust you to be there when you need to be there? Can I connect with you as a human? Can we joke? Can we have fun? Like, can we actually build a relationship? And if there's no human to connect with, they're moving on. My question
is when we're figuring out pricing, and especially we're doing it to clients who are used to not paying a ton for photography. And I'm thinking that a branding session is going to be $600-$800, $1,000, all the way on up to, whatever anyone can spend. So, how, is there a value proposition that you kind of talk about when we're trying to get a higher price from our clients than what they're normally used to paying?
Yeah, I actually posted a free preview video on my Elevate Branding Photography group that you can just go to that I talk about pricing, because this is one thing that I go through with my clients is first off, I always include starting out prices on my website, and I list off what's included. So when they're just like, they have the hair, maybe I want to include a branding photo shoot, and they go to your website, they can at least go, oh yeah, that's in my budget. Oh, and it includes all of these things versus I just show up and take a photo, right? So the biggest thing is that you need to do a branding shoot that is all inclusive, and that's where you can charge more. So think about having a pre-production call, even if it's just a 30-minute photo shoot, making sure that they're in the right wardrobe, that they have the notes on the right makeup, or what to bring, what not to bring, like all of these different things that the location you're shooting in. So do you need lights? Do you not need lights? There's so much pre-production that needs to go into a branding shoot. And you can truly say, branding photo shoots are charged completely different because I'm taking care of a human and making sure that you look good. I'm bringing my next level game of posing, education, guidance for you to look your best. For a room, I might just have to open up a drape or move a plant. For you, I have to protect your body image and provide the next level high level experience for you before, during, and after. So there's so much more work involved when taking a photo of a person and caring for you at that high level than a room. And so that's generally what I would say. And I do include little bullet points on my website, what's included, a pre-production call, a production sheet, I'll get their hair and makeup's included in my packages, all these different things, including like my body positive posing and included on my Instagram, and, add all these things up. And it really does show its value for sure.
Right. Well, and that's why in a way it sounds very daunting, to us to kind of do, because all that value is there. And like, we're used to doing no pre-production. We do literally zero. We just go to the house. I mean, our pre-production has just been the years of experience that we bring to it, but it's like, we're just going to go. And unless we are doing like some sort of, realtor on camera stuff, it's like, there's no pre-production.
Exactly. And that's the status quo, to be honest. That is the status quo of photographers photographing humans, is no pre-production. They expect their client to lead the shoot when you are the director. And so that's why I created Elevate for my female brand photographers, was because I wanted to change the status quo. I wanted to change the industry, because you can make or break someone's confidence. You can make or break someone's business with a great experience or a not great experience with photos. And so that's just a next level experience that you can offer. You really don't have to. And honestly, like I said, not doing pre-production, not doing your due diligence is the status quo of the photography industry. So go ahead, do it. But what's going to happen is that they're going to come to me or one of my Elevate photographers and go, oh my gosh, I've never had an experience like you did, that you took care of me. You told me what to do. I didn't feel awkward. I felt confident. I looked amazing. You created photos of me that I actually want to use, and I felt cared for. So the blue or red pill, your choice.
Right. Well, to break free from the status quo, to me, requires action. It definitely requires action. So that means it's time for our action items. And we're so happy that our action items this week are sponsored by Pixel CRM. Unlock the full potential of your real estate media business with Pixel CRM, the all-in-one CRM and marketing platform built by a real estate photographer for real estate photographers and media professionals. Pixel CRM is designed to help you attract and retain clients through marketing systems and automation. You can go to pixelcrm.com/upmarket and you can get a 30-day risk-free trial. And that Pixel CRM is spelled PIXLCRM.com and then /upmarket. And Pixel CRM, I know for us, we've been using it a bit. We're still diving in. There's so much to get into, but man, our Google reviews just going through the roof thanks to Pixel CRM.
Time for the action item. All right, what you got?
The action items now have a theme song, apparently. This is fantastic. Kelsey, woo, I love it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do mine first, because we'll let Kelsey finish off the show here. So mine is actually, it was a suggestion you made earlier. So I'm going to use it as an action item. It's like, not only get on camera, but do a little selfie video. 8 seconds long. It only has to be 8 seconds. It's the same length as a championship bull ride. You just be out there and you do an 8-second video of yourself talking to the camera. I'm going to do one for Upmarket Pod. So I'm going to, I'm going to lead in this space, right? Because I'm a thought leader in the industry. I'm going to lead with an 8-second
lead with example
thing, I'm a thought leader in this industry. Jesus Christ.
So I wasn't sure if you were serious about it.
No, it was a joke, but then I said it too seriously. And then it was like, oh,
I know. I was like, does he? Okay, great.
Yeah. Oh, he is as arrogant as he seems. That's great.
So I will, can I actually for yours, I kind of want to change it. Can I challenge it a little bit?
That's fine.
So I think that talking to the camera is amazing. And don't like set up like a interview, but like put it in your hand and you're talking to it like you're talking to a friend, your phone in your hand. I think what you should do, Reed, is I think that you should set up a tripod and get B-roll of you, like a time lapse of you shooting or doing an episode of the podcast, because honestly, those B-roll videos are actually way more impactful and way easier for people to start, because talking to camera freaks people out. And so like I'm showing on video here, like my favorite tripod that.
Oh yeah. I have one of those. Yeah. We have two of those. Yeah.
Yeah. Set up a little phone tripod and do your B-roll. That's my action item for you, because you are a good talker, right? But not everybody is. And I feel like an easier place to start is just set up your phone, do a time lapse, and then put a caption over the time lapse for 8 seconds and then some music, and then you're done.
That sounds harder to me.
You do that.
That sounds harder to me.
Do that.
Oh, jeez. Oh, Kelsey. Oh.
I mean, you do you, boo, but that's my little challenge for you. Remember, you got to balk the status quo by taking action, stepping out of your comfort zone. So maybe that's talking to camera. Maybe that's just B-roll. And for you, your assignment is B-roll. Oh, this got spicy. He's like, I'm never having Kelsey on the podcast ever again.
Just give us your damn action item. Jeez.
Honestly, that was going to be my action item. I spoiled it myself.
Well, okay. Well, I'm going to put you on the spot right now. Yeah. You just put me on the spot. Come up with another action item, lady.
I'm doing it right now.
You're the queen. You're the queen of action items. Come on.
Boom, boom.
You step it on mine and give us another one of yours.
Let's do it. So another action item besides filming yourself, just do like a time lapse, right? Start showing up in stories, because a lot of people are afraid of showing up. And if you go on their main feed, that's like there forever and failing or saying something wrong or whatever.
Right.
The stories is only there for 24 hours. And my action item is show up on stories and create 3 stories and start practicing story. And what I mean by that is a lot of people show up on stories and they just post this random ass video. You give the person no context, so they don't even know how to process it. Right. So what I want people to do is, when showing up in stories, actually create a story. So that means you have a beginning, a middle, and an end. So say, for example, someone wants to show behind the scenes of being on a beautiful listing, right? The first story is a picture, whether it's on your cell phone or one you took. Check out this beautiful home. The next one can be your BTS video or your time lapse or whatever, maybe to a link to the listing or whatever. And then the next one is a poll saying, would you, what are your thoughts on this? Or are you more of a modern style or a classic style? Creating a poll so there's more engagement. 3 stories. That's it. Beginning, introduction, middle, the story, the end, conclusion. Well, so that is my action item, is to start telling a story in stories. Okay.
Well, and I want to clarify, because I think when, not clarify that, but I guess kind of dive in a little bit deeper in looking at, because a lot of times when I see your Instagram and I tap on your story, I mean, the little bars at the top that tell you how many stories that there are left. I mean, it is like an endless ellipsis, know, on yours. They're all like tiny. So you are like, when you are firing, I mean, you're putting out, like, I'm not kidding, like 20 stories, right? And part of the question is, like, you talked about the 8-second video, and I know you're stringing a lot of those videos together. Are they all 8 seconds? I just can't remember. Or you're just doing 8-second stories and you're doing a lot of them, or some of them 30?
So 8 seconds, I would say, for reels. Reels, do an 8-second reel. So my stories now, don't take my massive amount of stories as the way to go, because a lot of that is my behind the scenes of photo shoots that my client is using. And so, so stories, I think you can go up to a minute on them. I say stay between 15 and 30 seconds and always use captions. I always like to do a bullet point of the topics that I'm talking about, because people are scrolling, swiping, and they want to know quickly what you're talking about if they actually want to stay for that 30 seconds to 50 seconds. So you'll see that I have like TLDR, too long didn't read, bullet points on my stories so that you actually know what to expect. And here's the thing, is that most of my followers, I start their day with my stories, and they expect my stories. And if I miss a day on stories, they're like, "Are you okay, Kelsey? Where are you?" Mm-hmm. That's my business plan. That's my marketing strategy that works. But whether you post 3 little snippet stories or 30 like I do, there still should be a beginning, middle, and end. Mm-hmm. And so if you watch my stories that are war and peace and law, there's a beginning, middle, and end. And you can then minimize that and do 3 stories, 4 stories, or whatever, beginning, middle, and end. Actually create a story, a narrative.
Right. Well, and I think that, and the biggest takeaway from that is like, it doesn't have, make it at least 3. It doesn't have to be any length. It really should just come out of your own brand and how you interact in the world and what you're comfortable with. So
totally.
So I am very comfortable right now ending this episode. So Kelsey, Curtis, thank you so much. I feel like there was a lot of really, really good information in there. And and I'm looking forward to hanging at the Palms in Las Vegas with you. We're going to have a blast.
I am so excited. I am so excited. I am excited to hang with you. I'm excited to hang with the PMRE crew. If you are a real estate photographer, videographer, architecture, whatever, PMRE, and have not been to PMRE, you need to go, because this room is full of amazing people. And you're going to talk about, real estate, photography, all that, but then more stuff too. It is the space you want to be in November for sure. And I'll be there too, so we can hang out.
Of course. Well, I will see. You're going to get a big hug from me when I see you in November. And all right. Dan, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you to all our sponsors. And we're so excited with this new partnership with iGUIDE, and we're looking forward to giving away some amazing stuff. And so there we go. Thanks, Kelsey. Upmarket is a production of Upmarket Studios. This episode was produced by Chelsea Froelich and edited by Bethany Diedrich. Thank you so much for listening, and we really hope you listen to the next one too. In the meantime, our wish for you is to not have to shoot any Friday night Twilight shoots. Thank you for everything.